Now we're good. All right, cool. Hello, everybody. Debo here. With I don't know if we can just call it a guide. I guess we can call it a guide, but just wanted to show off the Zuni pieces and the 6-piece set. They updated it recently on PTR. Zuni now has a 6-piece set. They also included the pants, and they did move that belt of transcendence to the waist slot. So, long story short. The 6-piece set bonus does enemies hit by your mana spenders take 150% more damage from your pets from 4 seconds. Mana spenders mean anything that consumes mana, and of course you got to hit the target with it. They upped this from 100% damage, and now it's 150. The damage is noticeable. It's pretty nice. Along with Gruesome Feast, sometimes my fetishes can get up to like 100 million damage crits, which is pretty awesome, but it's not really consistent. I think this is okay for now. I do like how they added the pants slot and they moved the belt of transcendence right here. But the one thing I do wish they could maybe reconsider is maybe getting Zuni on the necklace as well, or maybe on a shoulder, or mostly just the necklace. Because then what you could do is you could actually run the Zuni necklace, and then you could drop the gloves and maybe use Tasker and Theo. But even with Tasker and Theo, I don't really think it's going to do too much for it, because what you really need is either the pets have to do more damage or they have to have some kind of AoE cleave attack to make it competitive where you can get to really, really high levels. But with that being said, I'm just going to run you through what I'm using. Using a standard Mask of Drum, Int Vitality crit chance, and also pet damage 91%. I wish that can be higher, but that's okay. I also got this nice Ogdo's Powder, Int Vitality armor, and Fetish Army damage. Got this nice chest. I wish it was ancient, but it's pretty good. Int Vitality, Fetish Army damage, triple socket, and of course these solid bracers physical, Int Vitality critical chance. Nice little necklace here, physical damage, 100% critical chance, 100% critical damage, 9% critical chance in a socket. Also got the new Zuni gloves. These are trifecta. Int attack speed, critical percent chance of critical damage. Got a Ring of Royal Grandeur, which I got one with crit chance on it, but that's okay. Int Vitality attack speed. Hopefully in the future I can replace the Vitality for crit chance and then have a socket. Unity Ring's fantastic, critical damage, critical chance, and also increased damage by elites. I got the Belt of Transcendence, so these are the pants that they used to be pants, but now they're a belt. In Vitality, all resistance and life percent. Summon a Fetish Sycophant when you hit it with the enemy with the mana spender. We got Star Metal Kukuri. It's pretty straight up. It's not ancient, but it'd be nice. Damage, Int, and critical damage. Zuni Boots, pretty straightforward. Int Vitality armor. I'd like the Zuni Boots with Int Vitality armor and all res, but that's not too big of a difference because for some reason I'm getting a lot more survivability now. They changed the numbers around. My gear didn't really change that much. I think they incorporated the Vitality stat into your toughness, so if you're playing on PTR and you copy a character, don't be too shocked. It's normal. But I have noticed I have a lot of survivability, which is pretty nice. And of course, Zuni String of Skulls. Ancient one, this is pretty nice. I found the PTR. In Vitality, crit percent chance, and Fetish Army damage. And like as you know, in PTR, you don't keep none of the gear, so. 1.3k sheet DPS, 21 million toughness. Let me see here. Critical chance is 53%, 4 and 36% critical damage. Physical chance is 37%. Fetish Army damage increase is 35%. Which really isn't that good, actually. Because you want it to be around about 40. Oh, well, that's alright. And cooldown reduction is 10%. Not that we really need it, but I got enough Paragon levels I do believe we can get away with that. Speaking of Paragon levels, enough into movement speed. The rest goes into enough movement speed to get 25% movement speed. Rest of the points into intelligence. Got critical chance maxed out. Actually, looking back at it now, I want to keep the 10% cooldown reduction, but normally you'd want critical chance, critical damage, and attack speed, but we really don't need attack speed since we're using Haunt. But you get the basic idea. Armor, then life, then all resistance. The extra points are going to, life regeneration now because I got nothing else to do. And of course, the first thing I maxed out was the resource cost reduction, area damage, and then life on hit. And as for the skills, basically the reason I chose these skills is because they're either low cost in mana, and then also they amp up the damage of the pets. You have 23 fetishes, and the big theme of the Zuni set, I feel, is just try to amp up as much damage as possible on the target. What do I mean by damage amp? First of all, we got the Haunt. Haunt enemies take 20% more damage from all sources, which is fantastic. That will make them, of course, take more damage. That's really good, and it also spawns a fetish every time you use it. We also have piranhas, zombie piranhas, and the reason why I use this one, and a lot of people did ask me why not use piranhas or Paranado. I don't need to use Grave Injustice, and plus these piranhas, it hits everything inside the circle, and then the piranhas actually leap out and hit multiple targets, and as long as those targets get hit by the piranhas, then they'll get marked by the Zuni ability, which makes it so my pets do additional 150% damage on the enemies that get hit by that, and it only has an 8-second cooldown. Very easy to cast. Jaunt Spirit Walk. They did change Spirit Walk, so now when you Spirit Walk, you see how it's grayed out. It won't start to cooldown until after you come out the Spirit Walk, but we don't need too much cooldown reduction because for that, and we don't need to worry about that too much because in all honesty, we got a lot of toughness. We'll be fine. Spirit Walk will just be used when we need to get out of tough situations. Legion of Daggers, physical damage, property fetishes. We get 8 of them at 180% weapon damage. That makes sense. Hex. They changed Hex to actually affect, I think, up to like multiple groups of mobs. I don't want to say the exact number, but any mobs that basically get Hex will take 20% extra damage. There's some other ones you can actually use. You can use Hedge Magic if you want life. You can also use Unstable Form, but for this situation, I like to use Hex with the Jinx. It makes it so that any enemy is under 20% additional damage. Big Bad Voodoo boosts my damage by 30%. And then, of course, Pierce Veil and Spirit Vessel. We want Rush of Essence so we don't have mana problems with Haunt. And there's really nothing else we could really run. If you really wanted to run Bad Medicine or something else, I mean, there's really nothing else I could say that can actually help to the build. But and then also Gruesome Feast for the damage amp. So between damage amp that we have the Haunt, which is 1, Piranhas, which is 2, Hex, which is 3. And the reason why I use Infectious Toxin Gem is because it's another 10% damage increase from all sources. So we're just trying to maximize that and get as much damage out as you can. If you want to actually go ahead and use Pain Enhancer, you can. The reason I don't, because I always thought to myself, well, I really don't need the attack speed anymore. Now I got Belt of Transcendence. So the secondary effect is kind of meh. Maybe if I was using Rain of Toads, yeah, but the dot effect is still okay and it scales with physical, but I found the Infectious Toxin Gem, it's not scaling with the physical damage we have for the poison dot, but that 10% damage increase is pretty good. So we got all those different damage increasing mechanics, and that's pretty much how the build goes, and that's how I'm running it. Other people might vary it or whatever, but let's just go ahead and get into the Greater Rift run. I'm going to try to break this up into 3 videos. The first video will be me talking like right now about all the different gear and the Paragon choices and everything, and then the third video will just show the higher level Greater Rifts. I almost finished 43 with this. I was quite happy with it, and actually let me go ahead and increase my sound. Let me see here. I don't think let me see, sound output, headphones. Oh, they're coming out of my speakers. Well, I guess that's not too bad. Huh. Sound output in my headphones. I guess we'll just have to deal with it. That's kind of weird. Do I got my sound settings here? Let me see here. Give me 1 second. I just want to see if I can get sounds. I don't know. I guess it's just something we'll have to deal with. There's no way I'm leaving a PTR to refix the sound because the queue time is too ridiculous. So we'll just have to man up with no sound. Somebody asked a good question. How can you trigger the Hanavaxo effect? What stun do you use? I have no stuns, so it doesn't trigger. It'd be nice, but I don't think the Hanavaxo would add much to the build. But I mean, I don't know. What would I add? I don't know. I have nothing to stun with. So, like I said, I should get around about anywhere between 36 to 37 on this clear attempt for the waves to start off at. And then usually I can get skipped up to 40, and then 41, 42, and 43 depends on the RNG, but pretty much 40 is very easy to beat. 41 is pretty straightforward to beat too. 42 and 43 depends on mob density and placement and stuff. The boss killing for this is very strong, so it's like as long as you have a minute left at 43, that's more than enough to kill a boss, because the single target of this is amazing. But the problem is, it depends on what boss you get. You get a boss that likes to knock back all your pets or make your pets run around, then that's going to give you a problem. If you get a boss that just kind of sits there and takes it or bugs out because you got so many fetish attacking it, then you're going to have a good time. Alright, so like I said, the Haunt is here just to add the extra damage and get the fetishes up. And I actually got the piranhas with Paranada. Or I'm saying piranhas with the zombie piranhas. And I don't try to recast the fetish because one person said, hey, Debo, you're probably losing a lot of DPS because I used to spam it a lot. So I changed my key because you got Zuni Masa, so the fetishes stay out permanently. So I changed it from the key. I just want to keep the Hex spammed and then the Big Bad Voodoo spam, of course. But don't want to keep recasting those fetishes. The only time I'll cast fetishes is like when I come around here and I want to get damage on those guys. I'll drop the fetishes right on top of monsters. If I notice that they're in doorways and they're clogged up, somebody said, hey, Debo, you should spirit walk through it and drop them on the opposite side. So I've been doing that, and that actually has been helping improve the build a lot and making things a lot easier. So we're at the wave 40 right now. Hopefully we get in there 41, but we're doing pretty good here. If we get some pretty good RNG on the trial rift mobs, we should be okay. And like I said, everything's just taking the additional damage. We always try to look out for a health glow because that thing amplifies up the damage by a lot. Looks like we'll get this level 2, I think, just in time. Yep, we did. No health globes though, but that's okay. We don't got any phantoms, so we're looking pretty good. And I want to go ahead and just drop the group over here. No health globes though. I really like a health globe so I can amp up the damage of gruesome feast, but we might get past this level. We'll see. The fetishes are doing great damage. Looks like they're getting around the enemies that they need to. And no, looks like we didn't beat this one. So we got 38. That's that's the highest I've ever got. So that's pretty cool. And let's go ahead and get started. Somebody asked to show the belt, so we'll go ahead and show the belt. Belt of Transcendence has int, vitality, resistance, and armor. Real nice toughness belt, man. Summon a fetish sycophant when you hit a mana spender, so I really like that. And the flavor text says, witch doctors learned long ago that some spirits wish to visit our world, and that the correct cloth will act as a beacon to them. That's like my Germanic voice. So we're gonna go ahead and start in 38. After this rift level, I'll break it up into two other videos. And then, like I said, the reason why I'm making all these videos about the PTR is to keep everybody updated in the Witch Doctor community about how actually stuff is being playing out, because a lot of people are panicking about the damage output of certain builds. Now, I agree that, you know, Zuni Masa needs a little bit more help in terms of either more damage or making so the fetishes can cleave. But outside of that, if they just up the damage, I think the build would be very viable. They can just up the damage to, like, let's say 500% and then reduce it accordingly until we can do greater of level 50. And then I think the Zuni Masa will be fine, because the damage is very nice, even though you don't have the, even though you don't have the Tasker and Theo and stuff. I mean, the damage output of this build is pretty nice, and it's not hard to play this build at all. And then you could easily build a lot of toughness, and you don't have to get like a lot of cooldown reduction. You just need to have solid defensive tanky stats. And also with the new changes to Hex, they add for good CC. And this belt doesn't need to, this build doesn't need to worry too much about the Spirit Walk nerf, because it doesn't really matter, because we only use Spirit Walk to get away for a couple moments. We're not getting one shot. I was on 43 in the midst of mobs and not having to worry about getting one shotted, so I don't know if they adjusted the damage of it, but I mean, that was great. And stuff like that. They could have upped the area for Piranha, but the big thing, the reason I'm using the poison one, the zombie one, is because the fishes actually can hop outside that and hit a target, and that is from a mana spender, so that will tag it too. It actually has a very big radius because the fishes inside the piranhas can actually hop out and attach themselves to an enemy. And plus, you want to stay kind of close to trigger that Bane of the Trapped as well too. Of course, the impairing effect of the Hex will do that for you too. So between the Enchantress doing her chickens and then me having the Hex, most of these mobs stay CC'd pretty easily. And I never feel like I'm a rush against time with this build. It only just feels like, you know, I just gotta go through the motions and just, you know, just play it out. Because usually all the time I can get through the whole environment, no problem. So I might come over here, drop fetishes right on top of them. That's the only time I'll recast a fetish. Make sure I keep up my haunts. And some people say, hey, why do you keep spamming the haunt? Well, because it only lasts for 4 seconds. So you want to keep up your mana spenders on the target just to make it so the pets keep getting that 150%. But as I say, as you can see, like, they got Thunderstorm hitting me, they got Jailer, due to the toughness and stuff like that, you don't have much to worry about, you're not going to die or anything. It's pretty straightforward. There we go. And like I said, the thing I like about this is a very laid-back build. I mean, you don't even really have to struggle too much. Everything kind of just makes sense. The fetishes do their damage. You got 23 fetishes, and they're hitting a lot harder due to the fact because you got the Zuni Masa and everything else. So that's always pretty cool. Got a speed pylon here. Not going to do much for us. Resummon the fetishes. Always try to resummon them in the group or in the midst of everything. just so to make sure those fetishes are doing their damage. And we're making some good leeway right now, so we might actually get skipped up a couple levels. And somebody just asked in the chat, is Jade still playable? I haven't tested Jade yet. I imagine you might have to switch up the style, but it's just like back when the original days when Jade or our dots, Haunt, and Locust Swarm used to crit. If you didn't know, you could have one Haunt do 3 million damage, and then when it crits, it does like 17 million damage a tick. Back in those days, Jade used to be able to hit ridiculous numbers, but it was really random because sometimes you would crit, sometimes you wouldn't, and you would have to stop and look to see, am I critting or not? Blizzard basically changed the formula for dot spells and made it so that they no longer crit, but the crit % chance and critical damage is incorporated inside of the calculation for that skill. So when people freaked out about that, I said, guys, it's probably going to make the Jade build a lot more stable, a lot more consistent. It's going to be okay. Everybody thought the Jade build was going to suck after that. And then surprise, surprise, Jade still is the top end build for Witch Doctors. So I always tell people, you know, just don't even look at people that say, oh, it sucks, or, you know, you got to look at somebody who gets the video information, you know, who posts it, or goes and gets the information, tests it out, records it, you know, shares the information, bounces back different, you know, ideas, because we might just need to switch around the build a certain way and use our minds together to realize, oh, okay, it's not that bad. Now, I'm not saying that Jay can't use a buff. The damage might be decreasing a little bit because of compensation of losing the Spirit Walk, but I'm just saying a lot of people start panicking for no reason. And like a lot of people were mad and saying, oh, barbarians have better pets than witch doctors, and Blizzard already announced that barbarians are getting nerfed substantially. So like you gotta kind of relax when PTR stuff comes out because it's not finalized. And what you need to do is get on these servers, test your information, and post feedback. If it's not on the Diablo fans forum or the the Diablo Reddit forum or the Blizzard forum, you know, post your information, talk to your friends about it, because this is the only way we're going to figure out the game and make the Witch Doctor a not only fun class and not overpowered, but a balanced class. I do agree Witch Doctor should be very competitive compared to other classes and stuff like that, but I don't think, you know, we should be the #1 for groups and the #1 for highest and greater risk. But I think if a Witch Doctor can do anywhere between 50 to 55, and then, you know, maybe have some representations in a group, that would be perfectly fine. But I think a lot of people get too crazy. And our 0 DPS is doing quite well in groups, and then, you know, if we drop out of groups for 0 DPS or they nerf that, okay, cool, then I'm pretty sure they'll buff us in other aspects. But people just got to really calm down, because you got to think about it. We're just basically in the March. We're approaching the 1-month period for the seasons and stuff for being out. And we still got 2 months to go if they're going to end it on a 3-month season, right? If they're going to end it within 3 months, we still got 2 months to go. So we still got April, and then it's going to end in May, right before summer, and then they release this. So we still got 2 more months of testing and stuff like that. I mean, unless Blizzard just wants to make the season 1 or 2 months, which would be cool with me, and start a new season. I don't think that's going to happen, though. So I just tell people, just if if you need the Witch Doctor class to get buffs for you to enjoy it, maybe Witch Doctor class is not for you. You know, you might be better off playing other class. You should always try to enjoy your class and just overcome whatever they put against you. Instead of just saying, hey, I need a buff or something, just try to look at things objectively and just be like, okay, you know what, can you fix this and increase this a little bit? Maybe this will help out a lot. And, you know, Blizzard can slowly start increasing the numbers for us to help us out and get us to a scale to an appropriate level. I mean, they shouldn't just make us OP just because we're on PTR and we're seeing all these other classes do this crazy amount of damage, because let's be honest, man, it's like, you don't know what they're going to nerf or what they're going to change, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, they looked at the Barbarian, they said it was too crazy, and they're going to adjust it. Just like with Zuni, they upped the damage a little bit, so maybe they're going to, maybe they could add like a little bit of an area effect skill for your pets. That would be great. Maybe pets have a 20% chance to area effect, or a small cleave or something. Or maybe they just up the damage from 150 to 250% for the Zuni, and they can do that kind of stuff, and then they'll just slowly adjust it until we start, you know, getting to a point where we're starting to be in a line with all the other classes. You know, so I always tell people just to relax, you know, and just try to enjoy the game. I'm just happy they included all this new great items for me to test and play around with. That's what I'm happy about. As opposed to, I don't know why I went back for that channeling pylon. That's what I look forward to. You know, I don't care about necessarily doing like level 55. I mean, I like Tall Man's Finger. Like, I remember I posted in my Tall Man's Finger, Small Man's Finger guide. You can check that out on Reddit and the Diablo fans. Or if you're inside my chat ever, just type !small man, it'll pull it up. But one guy said, well, you know, it's still not going to be anywhere good as the other pet builds. And I tell people, look, it doesn't need to be as good as the other pet builds. Like, look, I was doing Small Man's Finger. I got to about, you know, 40, 41 with no pylons. I probably could do up to 45. You know, it's a fun build. It does 45. It's not the best build in the world, but hey, at least the build is somewhat functional. I mean, I'd rather have a build that can do like maybe only 40 to 45 and not be the best build than to have like a new build or a new item where it's just basically not even at the top, or maybe it's just so overpowered that it pretty much makes every other build unusable. I mean, I'm cool with that. And we gotta always skip the 42, so I think we're just gonna do this in one video segment. I beat a 42 once. 43 I could not beat. If we get some good mob density, we should have no problem beating 42. But I mean, the Zuni Masa for right now, that's pretty decent. So 42 is pretty decent. And if they need to increase the numbers here and there, that's fine. And they'll increase the numbers here and there, and they'll improve it. But do we need to simply just get overpowered for everything? No. They just need to slowly turn up the dial. Okay, now they're getting 45, 48, 49, 50, 52. Okay, oh man, they're getting 55 now. Oh, tone them down a little bit. Okay, now they're doing 50. Perfect. And that's what the PTR is for. It's not meant to just give you everything that you want. Why would they give me dexterity? Oh, that's dead. What's this one? That's not bad. That's actually very good. I might actually save that. I think I will. Oh, wait a minute. No, I can't use that because Little Man's Finger has to be used with Unity, which means I'll never be able to use that. Maybe in groups, but I mean, we don't really care about too much for the groups. We care about the greater risk. But, you know, I think a lot of people just get too caught up in the craziness. You can use, somebody else, can you harvest Acid Cloud? I think it's, can you Acid Cloud if you're using Grim Reaper with Jade? Yeah, you can. You can't, I'm sorry, you can't harvest it, but it does work well in the build. But no, you can't harvest Acid Cloud. You can't harvest, if any other, the only dots you can harvest is Haunt and Locust Swarm, and Blizzard fixed that a while back so people could stop doing that. Because people were harvesting Effacious Toxin Gem and Pain Enhancer Gems beforehand. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start this 42. This will be pretty nice because it'll be all in one video segment. So we did the trial rips, got 38, did well in 38, and got skipped all up to 42. Hopefully I can put you guys on a good show. I make no promises. But as long as the fetishes do their damage, it should be okay. And we got Hex and stuff, so I think we'll be okay. We got a good amount of toughness. I'm gonna go in here and just drop a Hex and I like to cast the fetishes in the middle of the group, and that's what you should try to do. And then whenever you see Health Globe, try to pick up the Health Globe because that's going to amp up the damage of your 23 fetishes. So I'll Spirit Walk in, and I'll just drop it right on top of them so that the fetishes are up in there. And once I feel, okay, the fetishes are getting in their good damage, then I'll just sit back here and chill. And as you can see, I could take a little bit of damage because the toughness is pretty good, and we got nice, tough, tanky stats. HP is up to 928k. And we got some nice Ancient rolls, so I'm going to pick up those Health Globes. Everything else should be finishing off. And like I said, don't focus on the meter, just focus on simply just, you know, just killing the monsters and keeping yourself alive and maximizing the damage potential of the fetishes by using Hex and everything like that. If you ever see your fetishes get kind of, you know, fumbled up like that, what I like to do is, like I said, I'll come over, and especially if I have a Spirit Walk, I'll cast the fetishes behind them so like the fetishes can get a nice enclosed around the group of monsters. The passes I'm using is Pierce the Veil. I'm also using Gruesome Feast, Spirit Vessel for a little bit of survivability, and then I'm also using Rush of Essence, so I don't have to worry about mana issues because spamming Haunt with Pierce the Veil does give you into some mana problems. Okay, I got this Elite here, so I'm going to try to surround it. And then you notice the Hex the Elite, and the Elite's going to start taking crazy damage. You see like a crit for 106 million. It's not always consistent, but it's nice to see the fetishes doing that much damage. So, you know, I can understand why they don't want us to have Taskers, because things might get a little bit crazy. But then again, when I tested with Tasker, it wasn't too bad. What I think they need to do is either reduce the set to 5-piece. That might help a little bit, but I think the easiest thing they can do is just up the damage for the Zuni Masa effect, because I don't think we need to have Taskers for every single pet build, because it'd be nice if somebody didn't have to have Taskers. You know, they could be like, oh, okay, I can just run the Zuni Masa glove and I'm good. You know, but I mean, if Blizzard wants to make it so we can use Taskers, that's great, but all they gotta do is just up the damage of the Zuni Masa effect, and I think that would be more than enough. Just keep upping it until it gets to a good place, or simply give pets a small cleave ability. The cleave ability and adding the extra Zuni Masa piece seems a little bit too you know, too crazy or too silly. But I think if they just kept upping the damage of the Zuni Masa, that'd be perfectly fine. Because the damage is great. I mean, I like it. I mean, I'm doing over 70 million damage. That goes up to 106 million, especially with the Gruesome Feast. That's pretty nice. And then the Hexing and all the damage amped. I think I just saw 110 crit there. But I think that would be okay. Hey, thank you, Pandarock. Thank you for the vote for the best Diablo 3 educational streamer. That's the one I'm trying to go for. I don't think I'll win the best overall one, but I think I have a chance for winning for most educational for 2014. But the biggest thing I noticed with 42s is just don't worry about actually, don't get too worried about if your meter is not going that great. Just focus on just, you know, executing the build, not dying, and just maintaining your extra. You want to keep making sure that your damage resource or whatever, or the mana spenders is always on the targets. That's your major goal, and that you keep casting the Hex. And if you can do that, I mean, you'll catch up eventually. And then make sure you also, like I said, just try to cast the fetishes next to what you want it to kill, like that, like a cast around top of the elite. And then maybe drop the hexes in the same place, keep up the big bad voodoo. And pick up health globes whenever you can, because that amps up all the damage of your 23 fetishes, greatly increases DPS. I wish there was a way I could sacrifice dogs and get health globes, but then they removed that option. But I mean, you know, they would get kind of silly at that point, but it'd be nice to always have 5 stacks of Gruesome Feast. So they're doing their damage on that elite, and we're doing pretty good. And like I said, just don't focus on the meter, just focus on just doing what you're doing, making sure you get your damage on the monsters. Looks like we got a nice little mob coming up here. And just spread around the damage, keeping up the big bad voodoo. Making sure your fetishes are doing good damage. You don't need an SMK for this build. I say with the Doombringer, you probably can do 40 plus with the Doombringer as well too, but it's really nice. I mean, because let's face it, 30% increased damage is very nice. You know, it's kind of just nice. But I mean, I would definitely go physical, and I would run I would try to run a Doombringer. Doombringer would be quite nice for this. And like I said, the fetishes are all hitting their targets. As long as they're hitting a target, that's all I care about. They don't necessarily always have to be hitting the same target, but I want all my fetishes not to be blocked. As you see, I'm staying in the middle mob, not too much worry about. Hex is doing a great job. Keeping up the big bad voodoo, picking up health globes whenever I can. And small games like that is how you end up beating the Rift. You don't have to panic. You just gotta play, you know, consistently on a Coma Spirit Walk. Drop the fetishes around these big blue guys right here so they can do their damage. Gonna recast the Hex. And like I said, it's just a very nice, cool, laid-back build. They're getting in their damage, doing pretty nice damage. You know, so. And like I said, it's pretty much no fuss for this build. Okay, gonna Spirit Walk in here, drop the fetishes inside the room, Spirit Walk out, grab the health globe, and now my fetishes are in the room too as well. Keep up with the mana spenders and the big bad voodoo. Try to get in closer so my Hex can make sure it's getting off. And sometimes I might even Spirit Walk in the room and drop the Hex, and then just get in the roof and be a little bit aggressive, because we got pretty good survivability, so I can get a little bit of aggressive. And just keep spamming the Haunt, trying to mix it up on targets that I'm hitting. Piranha's up all the time to get the increased damage. And just basically let the fetish do their work. It sometimes takes a little bit when they're all attacking their own individual targets, but that's okay though. This is Orbital Waller, knockback, electrified. Drop the Hex right on the elites. Ooh, pick up that health load. Alright. There we go. This is the last one. And see, we're doing a good job. See, it didn't look like we were getting ahead, but once we killed that elite, we did pretty well. Here comes another elite. Piranhas drop. I'm getting ready to do that Spirit Walk in, drop the fetishes on the opposite side to get the nice roundabout, and they're all Hex, as you see. Hex has been improved really well. Hits multiple targets. This is where I might take a death, and I just did the death. That sucks, but now I gotta be careful. But at least now I know what the monster is capable of. Gonna wait to use my Spirit Walk, but luckily I think we'll beat the boss out. And that was, every once in a while you get a crazy boss like that, but that was pretty nice because in all honesty, we probably there we go. And we probably will have our Spirit Walk vessel cooldown off by the time we get to another monster that's crazy. I'm gonna Spirit Walk down here and cast my fetishes in between them, make sure all my fetishes are getting in their damage. I don't want no fetishes not hitting with their daggers. There we go. There we go. Oh no, when you ask somebody asks, are you using Frog still? It's like, no, we use the Belt of Transcendence. Is what it does is every time we use a mana spender, it makes it so that we get a 100% chance to generate a fetish. So that's pretty much the new thing Witch Doctors are using. because it gives a 100% chance to give a fetish, which is great. So every time I land my haunt, I can use a poison haunt rune that makes it so all the sources take more damage by 20%. And then on top of that, it gives me a guaranteed fetish. But it used to be on pants, but now it's on a belt. And they gave Zuni Masa a pants slot so we can actually run Unity Ring. So now that I can run Unity Ring with the Zuni Masa, it's not a problemo. So my Spirit Vessel's off cooldown. I want to be a little bit aggressive now. Spirit Walk up, drop the fetishes behind the target, cast my Hex. And now just keep trying to spread that damage everywhere. Looks like we got some good mob density here. And the mobs are pretty easy, so that's pretty cool on point. And like I said, we're just trying to keep haunt on everything. We have Rush of Essence, so we can be pretty generous with it. Keep the piranhas up. Make sure everything's taking its damage. We're getting some pretty good gains here. And like I said, man, this build's like really laid back chill. So like I'm not even stressing. It's not like a Jade build where I have to think about everything. It's like, I can just go in there with my pets and I got a good enough toughness and the pets do the damage. And then since they buff the pet fetishes up, you don't have to worry about them dying, but we're running a Forcer Gem anyway. And we're just watching out for the poison and the reflect. We should be okay though. I'm gonna pop a potion. Gonna Spirit Walk up. Bam, that was some real good damage. Building up some pretty nice time. So if we keep going at this rate, no matter what Rift Guardian we have, we'll be able to easily beat it. It'd be pretty cool if we could skip the 44. I don't know if we will, though. We'll see. We might. There we go. Oh, let me cast the fetishes right here so they all can get around them and do their damage. 129 million crit. That's crazy. That was pretty nice. Alright, so now we're going to the next area. We got a nice little gain on our meter. We're doing perfectly fine. I think we're overdue for one more pylon. It probably will end up being a conduit, I'm thinking, because I already got a channeling, I do believe, if I'm not incorrect. No, that was on the last critter rift. We'll have to wait and see, but I think we should be overdue for one pylon now. They said they progressively spawn as you go through the rift, like as you kill stuff. So we'll see what the next pylon's gonna be. Just playing a little bit of aggressive and just trying to move the environment quickly. Oh, an elite outside. I'll go ahead and open up the floodgates. And we got another frozen one, so I want to come over here, drop the fetishes on top. And now I'm just going to be very careful because I need to respect this monster because it has, as you know, ice or frozen, which is very scary. I'm going to sit in this corner. Spirit Walk. I got lucky. It didn't pop my vessel. If you're not running vessel, then I'd advise to play very safe. But I like the Spirit Vessel because it allows for me to play aggressive in some points. Just basically trying to not get hit. Pop my Spirit Vessel if I can avoid that. Frozen's really not the greatest for your minions either because it freezes them as well, but they're doing good damage. They don't have a lot of HP. I think I'm okay. And yep, I got my Mega Man skills on today, so... Oh, Health Globe. Whenever you see a Health Globe, try to pick those up because it increases the damage substantially for your fetishes. Right on point. There we go. Coming up to the Rift Guardian shortly soon. But like I said, I'm looking for that one more pylon because I'm overdue for one. There we go. Actually, one second. I need to test something. Let's look at my headset on there. No. I thought maybe my headsets weren't working, but no, they are. I just, for some reason, Diablo sounds coming through my speakers. Yeah, they had something like that. They get the effective area. They had like the additional 4 fetishes, so you have 27 total. That would be pretty cool. And there goes another elite. And we're approaching. After this elite, we'll probably have enough to fight the Rift Guardian. This one doesn't seem like a too bad of one. Oh, Health Globe, great. I want to kind of peek a little bit this way, because like I said, I do believe I'm long overdue for a pylon. And I figured it'd be over here, but now I'm trapped. But luckily, I think I can battle my way through this, at least until my spirit walks off cooldown, which I did. And now we're just gonna sit here and kill all these monsters until the Rift Guardian spawns. Oop, I'm about to die. Gotta stand my ground. Ooh, Mega Man mode, got it. Great. So once these dies, and we'll fight the Rift Guardian. Try to get that health globe, increase the damage. The gruesome feast stacks are very important for this build. I wish I had a way to spawn more health globes. Maybe that might be the key to helping out this build a lot too as well. Going through here. Oh, we got Mr. Jerk. I don't actually want to fight him inside this small room. This is actually a very bad idea, but I think I'll be okay. If it gets too bad, you know what? No, I need to get out of this room. Because I just realized he does like an AoE fire attack, which isn't cool. So I just need to be careful and just keep reapplying my mana spender. But as you can see, the bosses die quite quickly. And see, you guys saw that? I think he just got hexed for a second, which didn't make any sense because that's not supposed to work that way. Maybe I'm just going crazy. He just, no? Oh, it made it look like he got hexed maybe when I stepped out the room. I'll have to check the video again because I'm recording this. But I've had that before where it's hexed the Rift Guardian, which is really weird because it's not supposed to work that way. So we got plenty of time. So 42, not a problem. 43 almost finished before. There we go. So, like I said, we had some time to spare. That was pretty solid. So a nice little 42 rank there, a little bit more time to spare. Pick up all the items, and all these are useless. And if you guys didn't know, they're going to up the blood shard limit so that the higher, the greater if you go, the more blood shards you can hold. Oh, well, I mean, that's just kind of how it is. With there's a little exploit with the Sever, and people want to call it clever use of game mechanics, and this is how I feel. If you want to keep it inside the game, which it's not, it's already been patched, that's fine. But all it does is just make people, it doesn't do good for seasons if you actually want to make people actually think they have a chance or be competitive and shit like that. And then the argument people always try to say is this, you can do it too. But I mean, can you imagine if they kept that one-shotting of level 63 Greater Rift bosses in the game? No one would enjoy that. Everybody would be frustrated. You know, everybody would be very annoyed. So my whole big thing is just, at the end of the day, I mean, do what you want to do. If it's going to be kept in the game, that's fine. If it's not, all I know is that I'm not going to use it, and I play the game for a different reason other than that. So I know they made a video about it. I mean, I think what they do is they make a video about it and then they want to post it. Then I remember the new video for on Diablo fans. If you guys want to check it out, they actually linked the video for Diablo fans and of them doing it. They got a lot of negative comments because it's just like people generally don't like that. And a lot of people try to argue that it's legit and it's fine. I don't think they submitted all the information to actually be helpful to the community. They just did it just to show off and shit like that. You know, I mean, you could just make a video showcasing the effect of it being wrong and make a private video and send it to Blizzard, or just put it out there and let people know, hey guys, can you please message the Blizzard? This is like the whole thing I said back in the day with Quinn when he made that guy about the exploit. Like anybody who's made it, like just if there's something like that in the game and it's game breaking, just submit it. And then people try to take credit over who came up with who discovered it first. And at the end of the day, I'm like, it doesn't matter. Just it's not making the game fun, because if they kept it in the game, then everybody would have to get a. Can you imagine the new build for DH was using Sever, and that's the only thing that they did, and you had to have this group set up? No one would like that. You know, at the end of the day, who cares? Just, okay, nerf it, deal with it. You know, next time, like, you know, when it comes up, instead of just making a video showing it off, just, you know, send it to Blizzard. Tell people, hey, guys, this is da-da-da-da-da-da. This is something that I discovered. Whatever you guys feel about it, what it is, I just wanted to make it public knowledge so everybody knows how we did it, and I wanted to submit this information to Blizzard so they can basically deal with the situation. Cool, Blizzard gets it, they can fix it, and they alter it, and that's fine, you know, and that's how it should be, in my opinion. But people don't do that. They do it because they think they can get views or something, or they can get famous off of doing that, and it's just something that you just don't want to do, you know. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and stop the video here. Appreciate you guys watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If I do beat 43, I'll upload that run too, but if I don't, then don't expect another video. But here's Zuni. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's on the right track. I don't think they need to add another piece. I don't think we need Tasker and Theo. I think what they just need to do is just up the damage from 150% to maybe like 300, maybe 400. And that should do pretty well. And they can even create it up to 500. And then they can just reduce the damage. And I think that will be perfectly fine because the build is very easy to run, very tanky. And if you just increase the damages of the Fetish, that would fix the problem through the 6-piece set. Or they can get the Fetish to some kind of AoE or some kind of cleave. Or... really, the only thing I think really can fix it is cleave or actually increasing the damage of the Zunimasa. That's the only thing I think that can affect it because having Tasker and Theo is not going to make that big of a difference. At least towards getting it to level 50. But anyways, as always, I'm Debo, and I'm out.